Hey everyone, what's up? Am I audible? Can you just tell me yes in the chat section if I'm audible? Check if I'm audible. Hey everyone, what's up? Am I audible? I am. Perfect. Waiting for everyone to join in. Waiting for everyone to join in, then we'll get started. Couple of minutes probably. So the contest link is in the description. Contest link is in the description. You can definitely check it out and join the stream. कहते हैं खुदा ने इस जहां में सभी को है बना. Hey everyone, what's up? Sorry for bombarding your LinkedIn. LinkedIn पे बहुत spam हो गया क्या? 42 watching, waiting for 100, then we'll get started. Waiting for 100. Chandigarh University is an online event. I think I'll be speaking online over there. Coming Mumbai on Monday. Lead Code bi-weekly. Lead Code weekly is on Sunday. Lead Code weekly is on Sunday, Codestudio on Saturday. That's the plan. Oh. Okay. So guys, there's a contest link in the description. You can open that off and you will get all the questions. You can open the question and you get all the questions. Minimize bill, count the people, add edges, sort the array. So by the way, this question is an amazing one. I found this question to be very good. Sort the array. It's a very good question. So you will enjoy solving it when I solve it. Okay, and I think this one is an just a simple one. Contest participation. Again, this is kind of hashing implementation. This is graph bipartite, and this is going to be a very good question of something which can be asked in an online assessment round. So yeah, these are the problems that we will be doing. Depends. Whenever I finish solving, I'll wrap up. Okay. So have you opened the link in the description? Guys, have you opened up the link in the description? Okay. So cool. I've opened up the first problem. I'll recommend you to go through the first problem, and then we can get started. So please go through the first problem. By the way, minimize bill is the question, and yeah, please go through the first question. Great, Shivam. Great. By the way, guys, uh, Code Studio organizes the contest every week. I go through all the questions myself, so I'll always recommend you to go through these contests if you have time and if you have bandwidth. Please make sure you go to Code Studio and participate in these contests. The more you participate in these contests, you will you'll get more acquainted to questions which are new. Okay, so I'll आज थोड़ा सा late update हुआ stream, but usually I'll update contest links in the Telegram from the next day. ठीक है? वह जसपे ने बहुत टफ क्वेश्चन पूछे थे. Okay, so I'll recommend you to go through this question and then we can get started. Go through the question. Give me a UQ the moment you understand the question. Give me a UQ the moment you understand the question and tell me how can you solve this problem. It's a very simple one, by the way. Tell me how will you solve this problem. Minimize bill. Give me a UQ the moment you understand the question. Give me a UQ the moment you understand the question. So if I read the question out, the question states problem statement. The question states you're buying some items from a grocery store and now it's time to pay the bill. The bill is represented in the form of an integer array A consisting of n integers. The integers in array A denotes the cost of the items you purchased. You get a chance to make a change in the bill. In one change, you can select any index in an array and multiply element by -1. Your task is to perform exactly one change in the bill such that the sum of the elements in the array you need to pay is minimum possible. So can I say, in order to solve this problem, it's a very simple one. Since they're allowing me to multiply a single element by -1, my brain will say, okay, if I'm allowed to multiply a single element by -1, I'll take the maximum element and I'll just multiply that by -1. So can I say, the answer is very simple. Figure out the maximum element and then multiply by -1. Does that make sense to everyone? Does that make sense to everyone? So long since this, and then you can just go across. Probably you can keep the maximum as well. Int max can be kept as a of 0, and then you can just go as auto of it on the a. You can say max c equal to max of maxi comma it. Okay, and you can just carry on the sum, right? And at the end of the day, can I say the answer will be whatever sum you have taken minus 2 into maxi, because if you are subtracting it, it reduces by twice. Because once you have added, so that addition will go, and now you're basically you will attach a -1. You'll attach a -1 sign to the maximum, so it will get reduced by twice, right? So that's going to be the answer. So let's quickly run this off. Okay, ये सब दोगलापन है, कैसा दोगलापन है? ये कंपाइलेशन की फेल्ड हो गया, अच्छा सॉरी. Anyway, सबको समझ में आ गया? Yes, UK if I've understood this. Let's quickly submit this. UK if I've understood this. Sorry, US. Rather US. US if I've understood this. Okay, we get an correct answer. Super simple. Has everyone understood this? US, please. Can I get an US in the chat section? US in the chat section. Come on, guys. Super quick, super quick. Next question पे जाते हैं. The last question is an amazing one. The last question is an amazing question. I can bet that you will not be able to solve the last question. But how did you improve your English? I think just by speaking, Yeah, every Saturday will be Code Studio, every Sunday will be Lead Code. Every Saturday will be Code Studio, every Sunday will be Lead Code. There's a link in the description for the problems. You can check this out. Okay, everyone, yes? Right, perfect. Uh, perfect. Super simple, super simple. Let's go to the next question, and it's a question based on the hashing. So I will ask you to go through the question. Okay. I'll ask you to go through the question. Explain return line sum minus 2 into max, because the max is something which I will multiply with -1. You would have added that into the sum, so it goes off. Now, since you have multiplied that with -1, the sum also reduces by minus factor. So there's a twice of maximum that gets reduced. The sum minus twice of max. Dadi cut lo. I'll cut it tomorrow. It's grown a lot. I'll cut it tomorrow. The Code Studio is good. Code Studio is good. I love the UI. I love the UI and everything. I think Code Studio is good. The main thing is, I think they have all the sheets at their places. Like there's a lot of problems. Like if you see, you can also find my sheet over here. So there's a lot of structured content over here. Please, अगर दिल्ली आओ कभी तो यहाँ भी एक मीटअप रखना. Sure. Sir, will you do in C also? No, not in C. Yes, okay. Most of that happens. Amazon generally tends to ask from the SD. Okay, go through this question. Go through this question, guys. Go through this question. Is dark theme, bhaiya? Okay. Okay. Is this good? I use dark theme. आज का लीड कोड 4th नहीं हुआ मेरे से, कोई नहीं, डिस्कशन देख लेना। एसडी शीट में डीपी की प्रॉब्लम्स अपडेट कर दो, या आई डू दैट, लेट मी कंप्लीट डीपी। ओके, लेट्स रीड द क्वेश्चन। सो यू एंड योर फ्रेंड्स, वेदर दिस कलर इज ओके, डार्क थीम सही है, डार्क थीम कंटिन्यू करें या लाइट कर ले, मुझे थोड़ा प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है देखने में। So you and your friend recently watched a Mr. Beast video. Now you want to give away food just like him. There are infinite people arranged in a 2D grid. Infinite. Very important to understand. There are, अरे यार ये कौन आ गया यार, एक सेकंड रुको, इसको पहले हटाने दो फिर आईडी हो। चलो चलो, सो डार्क थीम सही है ना, डार्क थीम। So arranged in a 2D grid of an infinite length and breadth. So there's an infinite light color ना, मुझे भी थोड़ा दिक्कत हो रहा था, हाँ मुझे भी थोड़ा दिक्कत हो रहा था। Okay, so basically, yeah, where was I? So there is an infinite 2D grid of length and breadth, each cell having one person. So everywhere there is one person. You and your friend are starting at the same cell of the grid. It can be any, like it's an infinite grid. Everywhere there's one cell, there's one person. At every grid there is one person. You and your friend can start at any portion, okay, any grid. So on the same cell, assume you are standing here. So the friend and you both will stand at the same grid. Okay. Next, you also have a string of length n consisting of instructions you and your friend have to follow. You will follow the first instruction, your friend will follow the second instruction, you will follow the third instruction, and so on. So basically, I'll follow the odd number of instruction and my friend will follow the even number of instruction. Okay. What are the instructions? U, D, L, R. U means up, D means down, L means left, R means right. Once you and your friend reach a cell, okay, the person present in the cell will receive the food. Now you wonder how many distinct people got the food. Okay, so one guy can get a food once. Fine. So let's take an example. Over here, it is saying we have two, up and left. So assume my friend starts, I am standing here. I take the upward journey. So I reach here. Then I take the leftward journey. Then my friend takes leftward journey. So he reaches here. So basically, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. So there can be three positions in the grid that I can reach. I think that's what. You and your friend gave the food at the starting position. Perfect. Then you went up one cell and gave food position in that cell. Your friend went left by one cell and gave food to the person in that cell. Thereby, a total of 3 distinct people got the food. So basically, if I take this, UL, let's see. I'm standing here. I took U. My friend took left. I again took U. My friend took left. So I can say in total, this is one position, this is one position, this is one position, this is one, this is one. In total, there were 5 positions, 5 unique positions that I encountered, right? Does that make sense to everyone? Does that make sense to everyone? Has everyone understood the question? Light, dark, कुछ भी करो. Has everyone understood the question? If both are on the same, then you count it once. If both are on the same, you count it once. So basically, you need to tell me how many distinct are there. Okay. So how do you do it? I can say, okay, Trevor, let's assume you and you are x1 and you're standing at this, and your friend is x2 and he's standing at this. Okay, perfect. And now I take set of pairs, which tells me if that position is visited or not. I'll be like, okay. So initially I know in the set I will have 0 comma 0 because that's the starting position. Now, how many places will I reach? I can say it will be n something important you will learn over here. N I plus plus. So can I say if this is, then I will take the turn. I take the turn. Else my friend takes the turn. Make sense? Or else my friend takes the turn. Perfect. So can I say if I'm taking the turn, there can be like S of I can be U. So if it is U, my row number will reduce. Else if S of I is equal to D x1 plus plus. Else if S of I is equal to left, then it will be y1 minus minus. Else it will be y2 plus plus. I think apart from this, there won't be any portion, right? So can I similarly copy these things and write it over here? And instead of this, it will be x2, x1, it will be x2, it will be y2. Oh, by the way, extremely sorry, it will be y1 and it will be y2. Perfect. So can I say this? That if I do this, at the end of the day, I'll be standing somewhere. That makes sense. So if I'm standing somewhere, can I insert that x1 and y1 because that's where I will reach. And over here, I will be like, okay, I will reach x2 and y2. And in this way, I am touching every position in the grid. So how many uniques are there? If I take and then set dot size, can I get the number of uniques? That's set dot size. Can I get the number of uniques? x1 गलत हो गया क्या कहीं? Okay, there's a comma over here. Did I do any other mistakes? x2, y2, x2, x1. हाँ सही है. Hula. Yeah, this will not get accepted. I know. I'll tell you why will this not get accepted. I'll tell you why will this not get accepted. अरे यार, इनको छोटा कर. I'll tell you why will this not get accepted. Just give me a moment. This is giving correct answer, but the moment I submit, you will see a problem. It'll give me probably TLE. चल गया. ठीक है. But this is an n login solution. This is an n login solution. Okay. Because we're using a set and we're using a pair. So this is actually an n log n solution. So why log? Because you're using something as a set data structure. Because you're using something as a set data structure. So what can you use such that that login will not be there? Can I say I can use something as an unordered map, sorry, unordered set. If you use unordered set, then this will not give you like this, the login factor will go. But if you tend to use unordered set, please hear me out properly. If you tend to use unordered set, then you cannot use pair. Like if I try to run, you'll see in unordered set, you cannot use pair. That's not allowed. See, compilation will say unordered does not allows pair. So how do you make sure that you remove that login? Does anyone have idea? How do you make sure that you remove that login? Because I'm not interested in keeping login. As of now, it's an n login because I'm using a set data structure which ends up taking a login. Now constraints is okay, but we're looking to have like we're just problem solving. We're looking to have something which is the best possible way. So how will you make sure that I use unordered set? In order to use unordered set, what I need to make sure is I need to actually use an integer. I can't rely on something as, I hope you understand. I can't rely on something which is as what to say. I can't rely on something which is kya tha isme? Which is pair. I have to use integers. I cannot use unordered map also you cannot, because in unordered map also you cannot use pair. Any unordered stuff does not allows you to use pair. another map, another set. It does not allows you. Does not allows you. So can I represent a couple of integers? Because what am I storing? I'm storing something as x2, y2. Can I represent them? Can I represent them in terms of 1D integers? So yes, the answer to that is yes. I'll represent them as 1D integer. I'll tell you how. So imagine this is my 2D. Okay, this is my 2D matrix. And ideally it's like 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2. Okay. What if I can express them as 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Instead of two integers, if I can, yes, if I can represent every index as a singular index, why can't you use? ये तो लिखा हुआ है, पढ़ो ना, क्यों नहीं use कर सकते? Over here it's written over clearly. It does not allows you. Internal implementation does not allows you. So if every index I comma j can be represented in form of another integer x, then I will, instead of this, I can actually store an integer. I can internally store an integer, correct? So can I say, I'll try to represent an index like 2, like over here, what is 2 comma 2? What is 2 comma 2? 2 comma 2 is nothing but the 8th index. What is 2 comma 1? 2 comma 1 is nothing but the 7th index. Do you carefully observe? 2 comma 2 is the 8th index. 2 comma 1 is the 7th index. So if you can represent every index in terms of 1D indexing, I think your job will be done. Okay, so how do you represent everything in terms of 1D indexing? Again, observation. How many are there in the first column? 3. How many are there in the second column? 3. How many are there in the third column? 3. Or can I say every column, every row has m numbers. Every row has m numbers. So if every row has m numbers, I can actually deduce a formula as I into m plus j. And you will see, if you use this formula, I into m plus j, let's take this 2 comma 2. 2 into 3 plus 2. Why 2 into 3? Why 2 into 3? Because there has been 2 rows. So 3 plus 3, 6 plus the second column. So plus 2. So goes as 8. 3 plus 3 plus 2 thereby gives you 8. Have you understood this? I into m plus j. I into m plus j. Have you understood why I into m plus j? Because every row has m elements. So if you are going to second row, you would have already processed I into m elements. I into m elements. These elements would have been processed. Like if I carefully observe, these elements would have been already processed. So thereby I into m elements have been processed. Now you're looking at the second element. So thereby plus j. So have you understood how do you represent every I and j in terms of a singular index? Has everyone understood this? Why I into m plus j? M is the number of columns, because at every, okay, so it's given as infinite matrix. Okay, so it is given as infinite matrix. So how do you tweak this problem? Because it's given as infinite matrix. Like if I carefully see, it's given as infinite matrix. So it's given n is 10 to the power 5, right? N is given as 10 to the power 5. So can I say at the worst case, we can go above 10 to the power 5, niche be 10 to the power 5. So what if I'm assuming, like at the worst case, even if I start from 0, I'll end up 10 to the power 5, 10 to the power 5, 10 to the power 5, 10 to the power 5. Correct? So can I say, instead of writing this, probably I can take an integer 10 to the power 6, because it might go 10 to the power 5 up, might go 10 to the power 5 down. So can I take something as 10 to the power 6, and then that will work as the number of columns at the worst case? Can I do that, guys? Can I do that? Just give me a yes if I can do that. So what I'll do is, I will say, instead of 0 comma 0, I'll be like 0 into 1 is 6 plus 0. Okay, over here instead of x1 y1, I'll say x1 into 1 is 6 plus y1. Over here, because I'm taking the extreme number of columns, x2 into 1e6 plus y2. So in this way, what I've done is I've converted it into a singular index. Now, if I can convert this into a singular index, I can actually represent it as an unordered set of int. Now, if I run this, let's see if it is running fine. It should run. Yeah, it is. It is. What I did was I converted it into a single index. Now the complexity is big O of n. Isn't it big O of n, guys? What's the complexity now? Big O of n. We actually removed that log n because of the pair. Yes, it's just a representation. Pratish, why 1e6? Because see, the constraint was saying 10 to the power 5. So at max, someone will move 10 to the power 5, 10 to the power 5. So at max number of columns कितने ही होंगे? मतलब अगर 0 0 से शुरू करते 10 to the power 5 ही होंगे ना, उससे ज़्यादा तो होगा नहीं प्रत्यक्ष, राइट? तो मैंने बोल दिया कि चलो एक नंबर ऑफ कॉलम्स अपन 10 to the power 6 ले लेते हैं, उससे ज़्यादा तो कभी जाएगा नहीं. सेफ्टी के लिए मैंने क्या किया, नंबर ऑफ कॉलम 10 to the power 6 ले लिया. अपन का फॉर्मूला क्या था? I into m. तो मैंने m के जगह प्लेस कर दिया 10 to the power 6, क्योंकि हाइपोथेटिकल है, हमें पता नहीं है ग्रिड का साइज क्या है. तो हाइपोथेटिकली मैंने 10 to the power 6 पुट कर दिया, बस एक सेफ. I just figured out an hypothetical number and I put it as 10 to the power 6, and that worked. And put it as 10 to the power 7 as well. Like it's just a hypothetical number of columns because the question stated you're given an infinite grid. So I just took a hypothetical number of columns and I put it. Yes, it can go negative index. It's absolutely okay if you want to go negative index as well. So it will go as negatives. Since I'm taking 10 to the power 6, it will be managed. Okay. Yeah, everyone understood? Can I get an US from everyone? Can I get an US from everyone who's attending the stream? Then I'll move to the next. Can I super quickly get an US from everyone? You can use yes, yes. Atul, that's correct. That's correct. For people who are wanting repeat, go back and watch. Simple. Okay, everyone understood this? Perfect, perfect, perfect. Understood, right. Perfect, perfect. Sachita understood, Nirav, Vishal, Kashyap, amazing. Pratham, amazing, amazing. Okay, so we've understood the third question, second question as well. Yeah, you can. Cool. Let's take the next one. Add edges. That's the add edges question. I'll give you some time to read the question. I'm just saying, भैया please answer algorithms like sorting हमें रट्टी होती है, खुद से solve करना होता है. नहीं भाई, sorting वगैरह तो आपको कोई बताएगा तभी ना आएगा. नींद में थोड़ी आएगा कि सिलेक्शन सॉर्ट कर लो. My shot. You have to study those algorithms. The next question, please go through it. Next question, please go through it. मैं पहले से थोड़ा हेल्दी हो गया, हाँ काफी. पहले तो काफी पतला हुआ करता तो गॉट अ लॉट ऑफ, काफी हो गया पहले ये सब हड्डी आता. I'll do tomorrow the lead code weekly. I'll do tomorrow night 10 o'clock tomorrow lead code weekly, or 9 o'clock depending on my availability. I'll do it on 9 or either on 10. TSU, okay. A lot of people are saying TSU. No, Imanshu, bi-weekly contests, I don't have bandwidth for that as of now. Bi-weekly contest bandwidth, yeah. Yeah, I'll cover DP on trees. Not in depth. I'll cover that much is needed. Jitna zarurat hai, I'll cover that. Okay, let's read it. So, how many of you know what is bipartite graph? So a bipartite graph is a graph where each node is either colored black or white, and that for any edge. The endpoints of the edge are in different colors. So basically, bipartite graph is something like, if this is the graph, let me just explain you what is bipartite graph. If I'm drawing it like this, then bipartite graph means color them with different colors. If I coloring this with black, you'll color this with white. Color this with black, you'll color this with white. So this is a bipartite graph where every node is colored with adjacent, like different colors. Like you'll just use couple of colors. You're allowed to use couple of colors, either a black or a white, green or blue, whatever you can call it. Take any two colors and try to color them such that none of the adjacent nodes have same color. For an example, if I just extend this graph to like this, then this cannot be a bipartite graph. Why? Because if I color this white black, this is okay, but this guy gets a problem, black black. So this is wrong. This cannot be a bipartite. So any graph that has a odd length cycle, cannot be bipartite, because in an odd length cycle, two adjacent guys will eventually have same colors. Question का links आपको description में मिल जाएगा. You can open it. Questions link, you'll find it. You'll get it from this. Questions link, you'll get it from this. So any odd length cycle in a graph cannot be bipartite. So now the question says you're given a bipartite graph. Yeah. You're given an undirected tree. So you're given a tree, by the way. So any tree is not bipartite. For your kind information, any tree is not a bipartite, because in tree there will be no cycles. In tree there cannot be no cycles. So whatever input is given to you is an bipartite graph. Okay? So you can keep adding edges to it as long as the graph remains bipartite. Like they're allowing you to keep adding edges, keep adding edges, as long as the graph remains bipartite. What is the maximum number of edges you can add? They're asking you they will give you a tree. What is the maximum number of edges that you can add so that the graph still remains bipartite? Okay. Note, if there already exists an edge between two nodes, like if there is already an edge, you cannot add. You also cannot add an edge from any node to itself. Nothing in self. However, cycles are permitted. Okay. Let's take an example to get things clear. Let's take this example. Okay. So first it says 1 to 2 is an edge. Then 1 to 3 is an edge. 2 to 4 is an edge. 2 to 5 is an edge. So this is what they're saying you. Okay. So this is the tree that is given to you. Now, if I try to color it, I think I can color this with black. I can color this with white. I can color this with black. Sorry, my bad. I can color this with actually white. I can color this with black. I can color this with black. Correct? So can I say this, that if I try to color this tree, it will be black, white, black, black, and white, right? Now, if I ask you a very straightforward question, how many edges can you add? You'll be like, okay, Striver, there's already an edge between 1 to 2. So that's not, I cannot add it. How will I make sure that on adding edges, it still remains bipartite? How will I make sure that on adding edges, it still remains bipartite? My brain will say, Striver, why don't you add edges between black and white, guys. Because if you are adding an edge between black and white, guys, it will never, it will never have, it will never get deep, like type, it will never get non-bipartite. So I'll be like, okay, let's add an edge between 3 to 5 because it's a white, it's a black, so it still stays bipartite. Let's add an edge between 3 to 4, it's still white and black, still stays bipartite. So can I say, like, I cannot add white to white, I cannot add white to white, that's not allowed. But if I add white to black and white to black, can I say at maximum I can add 2 more edges and the graph still remains bipartite? Hence the answer is 2. Hence the answer is 2. Understood the question? Understood the question? Understood the question? Is the question clear to everyone? Come on, guys. Let me know if the question is clear. Let me know, guys, if the question is clear. Everyone, question clear? So how do you solve this problem? How many edges can you add? Like, what does your brain say? My brain says, Striver, I can add edges between black and white for sure. Because if I'm adding edges between black and white, I repeat, if I'm adding edges between black and white, I am sure it will never go, it will always be bipartite. Because if I'm adding between black and white, it's always going to be bipartite. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? If I'm adding an edge between black and white, it always stays bipartite. Right. So, okay. First logic that comes to my brain is, okay, why don't you tell me how many blacks are there? How many whites are there? So over here we had 1 white, 2 white, and we had 3 blacks. So can I say I can actually add 6 edges? Can I say I can actually add 6 edges? I'm like, how? How? I'll be like, Straver, 6 edges because it's a black. This black gets added to every white. This white, this white. Yeah. Straver, this is a black. This gets added to every white. This white and this white. Straver, this is a black. This white and this white. So can I say every black gets added to every white? Every black gets added to every white, thereby 6. But Straver, there are already existing edges. How many edges were there existing? There were n minus 1 existing edges. So can I say the answer is number of black into number of white minus n minus 1, because those are the existing edges. Can I say this is the answer? Can I say this is the answer? Yeah, DJ got it correctly. Sakiri got it correctly. So can I say I'll just color the nodes, I'll count how many blacks are there, how many whites are there, then I'll just multiply them and reduce the existing edges. Can I say this? Can I say this, guys? Does that make sense? Does that make sense, guys? Rishi Raj, there was a time when you used to teach because you love teaching. Now you teach because you're getting money for teaching. It's not about tere se le raha hu kya, but it becomes visible in your videos. Fine, don't watch, man. Don't watch. There's an option to unsubscribe. Unsubscribe. Feel free to unsubscribe. मैं थोड़ी तेरे घर जाके तेरे यूट्यूब पे तेरे मेरे चैनल को खोल के तेरे को पढ़ा रहा हूँ. नहीं पढ़ना है भाई, unsubscribe कर ले. I've given a lot of free content. That's it. If I'm giving my time on Saturdays, absolutely that's my choice. If I charge from someone, if I'm doing a paid stream, it's my choice, man. If you don't wish to watch it, close it. Simple as that. Am I taking your time? I'm not, right? It's you is willing to solve a problem. Solving a problem, उसमें भी तुम complain कर रहे हो तो भाई घर में जाके रहो, इधर मत रहो. Next time you do these shits in the comments, I'll just hide you. I clearly stated Saturdays I'll do Code Studio, Sundays I'll do lead Code Weekly. That's yeah, graph coloring then counting. End of the day problem ही solve कर रहे हो भाई. उतना ही है भाई तो YouTube चैनल खोल लो ना, पढ़ा लो, मना किसने किया है, पढ़ा लो ना dude. Anyone is Saturday अभी भाई तो मतलब सैटरडेज भाई मैं आराम से चल भी मतलब ठीक है चलो मैं आज कमा रहा हूँ, कल तो मैं नहीं कमाने वाला हूँ, वीकली मैं जो संडे वीकली कर रहा हूँ तो मैं क्यों कर रहा हूँ यार, ठीक है, देयर हैज टू बी अ परफेक्ट बैलेंस. जस्ट कांट कीप ऑन टीचिंग एवरी डे विदाउट गेटिंग पेड, सिंपल एज दैट. हर दिन आप एक्सपेक्ट नहीं कर सकते एक बंदा अपना संडे को, भाई तुम कितना खुद संडे बोलो तो अगर तुम मंडे टू फ्राइडे 8 घंटे का जॉब करोगे, अ, कितना संडे तुम कितना सैटरडे संडे अपना हर सैटरडे संडे मैं तुमको बोल रहा हूँ तुम छोड़ दो, बाहर मत जाओ, हर सैटरडे संडे यू गो एंड टीच फ्री. कर पाओगे? कितने साल कर पाओगे? पहले ये खुद से पूछ लो फिर आके बकवास यहाँ पे देना, ठीक है? अभी लेवल इंसान है. अरे खुद पहले सैटरडे संडे अपना 2 साल, यार लास्ट 2 साल से मैं सैटरडे संडे पढ़ा रहा हूँ, 2 साल से. हार्डली आई गो आउट ऑन सैटरडे संडेज. यूजुअली सैटरडे नाइट लोग बाहर जाते हैं, पार्टी करते हैं. आई डोंट डू दैट, ठीक है? तो डोंट, नॉट इंटरेस्टेड, देयर इज एन ऑप्शन टू अनसब्सक्राइब, ब्लॉक, हाइड चैनल, गेट लॉस्ट. ये लेवल है मतलब, जबरदस्ती हेट फैलाते हो यार. Anyways, so is that clear? So what can I do? Can I say this? Can I say this? I'll simply, I'll simply color this graph into black and whites, count the blacks, count the whites, and then get my answer. Can I do this? Can I do this? Can I do this? Let's color this graph into black and white and get the answer. Does that make sense to everyone? That makes sense to everyone. एंड और एक चीज़ भाई, अगर मुझे पैसे कमाने होते हैं तो मैं प्राइवेट चैनल है ना उस पर मैं 3-4 वीडियोस डालता हूँ ना महीने के, मैं 3-4 की जगह मैं आराम से 8 से 10 डालूंगा और मेरे को 8 से 10 स्पॉन्सर्स भी मिलेंगे, ठीक है? तो वो सब मत सिखा. देयर हैज टू बी परफेक्ट बैलेंस. देयर हैज टू बी परफेक्ट बैलेंस बिटवीन अर्निंग, बिकॉज जस्ट यू जस्ट कांट कीप ऑन वेस्टिंग, लाइक यू जस्ट कांट कीप ऑन योर लाइक अपना सैटरडे संडेज अगर आप दे रहे हो तो इट हैज टू बी इक्विवेलेंट इन बोथ द वेज. एनीवेज, so can I say this that okay, I need to count the number of black notes. Step one will be to color the graph into black and white. Can I say this? Color the graph into black and white. I'll be like, okay, I'll have to write a DFS. And firstly, though, they're given a number of edges. So I probably need to create the graph. And once I've created the graph, I think then we can do it. ठीक है? तो आई थिंक ग्राफ, दिमाग का दही हो गया यार मेरा फ्री फोकट में. So can I say I can easily create the graph because I've been given the number of edges. So let's do one thing. Let's create the graph. Okay. So probably I'll just have the vector adjacency of, I'll create an n+1, and then I can just iterate across the edges. And can I say adjacence of id dot first dot pushback id dot second, ठीक है? Adjacent id dot second dot push back id dot first. Can I do this? I can definitely normally create my graph like this. So I've created the graph from the given edges. Now I just need to make sure are the edges 0-based indexing or not. So what I see is the edges are 1-based indexing. Really, I can write a DFS, and I'll try to write a DFS that counts the black nodes. So int node is something, int color is something, and what is the next thing that I require? I require the graph definitely, because if I'm trying to do it, I will require the graph. So let's do one thing. Let's try to have the. Do I need? Okay, I'm having a tree because the question states I've been given a tree. So I think I'll carry a parent that will work, and I will do vector of int and an adjacency. I think that should be fine. So if I just carry this, it should be fine. Now when I'm going to this particular node, I know the number of adjacency will be on adjacency of node. Perfect. And there will be a DFS. If it's not equal to parent, I will go for the DFS, right? So when I go for the DFS, can I say I have to count the number of black nodes because I'm going on putting some number of blacks, something like this. So can I say this? Can I say this? INT blacks will be the initial color. I can probably pass on the initial color as like initially I start from 1, I color it with 1, and I'm assuming 1 to be black, and I'm assuming 0 to be white. Okay? So 0 को white ले लेते हैं, इसको black ले लेते हैं. And I've taken this, and initially the parent is -1 and the adjacent. Okay. And I'll try to count the black nodes only. I'll try to count the blacks from here. And once I've counted this, I know whites will be n minus blacks because that's very obvious. Whites will be n minus black for sure. So over here, I have the DFS. So I'll call the DFS for IT. The color will go as the opposite color. And the parent will be the node. And it'll go as adjacent. I need to return the blacks. So I'll try to count the blacks over here only in the DFS. I think this should give me the black. So is this clear? I tried to count all the colors. ठीक है, समझ में आ गया? एडजेसेंट लिस्ट क्यों नहीं है? अरे एडजेसेंट लिस्ट मैंने इसलिए नहीं लिया क्योंकि फिर आप इसमें पैरामीटर में नहीं पास कर सकते. That's what I did was I created a vector of vector, a matrix kind of. I created a vector of vector, matrix kind of thing. And then depending on that, it will work. Can color be more? No. Have notes not been uploaded? अरे नोट्स तो अपलोडेड है यार, क्या बात. नोट्स तो अपलोडेड है. तो यहाँ पे ना एक डीपी का तो डीपी 19 तक हो गया यार. यार डीपी वाले जो नोट्स है ना, एक डीपी सीरीज बोल के यहाँ पे अगर आप सर्च करोगे, मैं अपलोड कर दूंगा डीपी सीरीज. अगर आप ये करोगे, हाँ डीपी सीरीज अगर करोगे, ये पूरा यहाँ पे मैंने अपडेट करके रखा है, देख रहे हो सारा इधर अपडेटेड है. तो यू कैन इजीली फाइंड ऑल द नोट्स फ्रॉम हियर. So there's this wonderful link over here. You can easily find the practice problem, every bit from here, right? If you want to just revise. Okay. Explain DFS. What I did was I just went on coloring. So I initially started with the color 1 and I kept on coloring by opposite colors. Color 1, color 0, color 0. And I kept on counting हर DFS से कितना color हुआ. Right? And last में वो colors मैंने कितने blacks में return कर दिए. ये black मिल गया मेरे को, white हो गया n minus black. If you are not understanding this, try to take a small graph and do a dry run, you'll understand. Try to take a very small graph, you'll understand how is this working. Very simple. Goes and collects. For I'll just take a very small graph and explain you. Assume this is the graph, okay? Assume this is the graph. Okay? Assume this is the graph. So what happened was, you're like, let's have function. So you started with 1 and you're coloring it with 1, okay? So you ended up going to function 2 and you had a parent with 1 and you colored with 0. Okay. Then you ended up going to function 3 and you colored this guy with the parent of this guy will be 2 and you colored this guy with 1. So this guy you're coloring with black as 1. So this guy got a color 1 and it will not have any further DFS calls because 3 does not have further DFS calls. So it returns blacks. So this guy will return 1. Similarly, you will have a function call for f4 where you'll the parent is 2 but you'll color that with 1. Similarly, this guy will return also 1. So apparently 1 from here, 1 from here, and blacks plus equal to. On both the DFS call you got 1 and 1. So this guy returned 2. So blacks was 2 and you colored this guy with 1. You colored this guy with 1. So 1 plus 2, eventually you returned 3 because initially you took black and you counted for the colors, then you returned. Clear हो गया? Clear हो गया? How did this work? Basically I kept on going, colored it and it went back. Clear? Clear? How did the DFS computed the colors? So this DFS will give me the colors. And once it gives me the colors, I think the answer is very simple. Long होगा तो just make sure there's no overflow. 1 LL into black into white, right? Minus and minus 1. I think that should be clear. अरे यार हमें तो काफी स्पैम कर रहा है यार, मैं टाइम आउट में डाल देता हूँ. Okay, everyone understood this? Wrong answer. रिटर्न तो कर दे भाई. Sorry, I did not return. I did not return. Okay, perfect. Hopefully there is not a long issue. Hopefully there is not a long issue. Okay, has everyone understood this? Has everyone understood this? Has everyone understood this? What does 1LL do? Basically, if you are multiplying couple of integers and it is exceeding integer, so over here it might exceed because there are 10 to the power 5 nodes, so 10 to the power 5 and 10 to the power 5 will be 10 to the power 10. So if you multiply that with 1LL, it will not overflow. It gets converted into a long because black and white is an integer. The integer into integer will be an integer. But the moment you multiply with 1LL, what happens is it tends to get into long. It automatically gets converted. Yeah. There'll be no base case in DFS. No base case in DFS. Because on the leaf nodes, it will no more be calling. Understood, everyone? Has everyone understood the code? Simple BGO of n solution. Simple BGO of n coloring the node solution. Fenway trees तो आता है यार. There's a lot of time you'll get. How DFS is running? What about I said, just take a very small tree. Just take this tree and try to do the DFS by yourself. Take this tree and try to do the DFS by yourself. You'll understand how is this working. It's a very simple one, यार. I can't explain you this ना. अब ये तो काफी simple recursion है, मतलब क्या ही समझाओ. Just take a tree by yourself and try to color it. You will get it by yourself. How is this returning? ठीक है. बहुत simple सा था. Like you could have the other way was you could have gone into DFS, you would have colored it, then you would have again traversed, count which is black, which is white. That could have been also done. Like if you're not understanding this, forget about this. Just do a bipartite. Just do a bipartite. Go and color every node, and then when you come back, just have a count. कितने blacks. You can also do that. But I since मेरे को काफी experience, I'll count it on a single go. I'll count it on a single go only. Okay, everyone has understood this. US, can I get an US? Can I get an US from everyone? The easier way is just color bipartite and then come back again and count kitne. That's the easier way, brute way. Okay. Can I have 300 likes on the stream? Can we have 300 likes on the stream? Summary क्या है यार, मतलब काफी सिंपल है. ब्लैक नोट्स निकालो, व्हाइट निकालो. ब्लैक इंटू व्हाइट ही होंगे जितने एजेस आप जोड़ सकते हो, एंड एग्जिस्टिंग एजेस को हटा दो. That's it. Can I get an US from everyone? Cool. Looks like most of you have understood. So I'll go to the next. Next question is a good one actually. Not that way. It's actually a very good question. I love this question. Can I give you the question? Read. It's a very good question. The difficulty level is hard, but I found it a very good one. Fenwick tree segment tree take you forward पे already है. आप देख सकते हो. I'll give you a couple of minutes to go through this, then we'll get started. हाँ, कोड स्टूडियो अभी तो मतलब कोड स्टूडियो काफी फेमस हो गया है, आराम से डाल सकते हो। कोड स्टूडियो, जीएफजी कुछ भी डालो, आप लीड कोड डालो, एज लॉन्ग एज यू सेइंग यू हैव सॉल्व्ड डीएसए प्रॉब्लम्स, आई थिंक बी फाइन। अरे शिवा, मैं पबजी खेलते हो? मैंने कुछ गेम नहीं खेलता है, टाइम नहीं मिलता। तो क्या क्वेश्चन कर रहे हो? भाई ट्री सीरीज में ऑप्टिमल आंसर क्यों नहीं है? सारे में तो ऑप्टिमल है यार, सारा ऑप्टिमल कोड से डूड। दैट आई विल नॉट एग्री। ऑल कोड्स इन ट्री सीरीज आर द ऑप्टिमल, बिकॉज मैंने रिसर्च करके डाला यार। तो जबरदस्ती आपको स्पैम करना है तो आप कर लो, बिकॉज एवरी कोड दैट आई टीच इज लाइक, आई जस्ट डोंट गो कि मुझे जो आता है मैं पढ़ा देता हूँ। आई गो थ्रू द डिस्कशन सेक्शन एंड मुझे लगता है कि ऑप्टिमल सोल्यूशन है, तो आई डू रिसर्च यार हर एक कोड के लिए। ग्राफ के लिए आई थिंक लीड कोड वुड बी गुड। Okay, read the question. Okay, let's understand the question. Okay, so the question states Ninja is given an array of length n consisting of positive integers. Okay, so Ninja is given an array of length n consisting of positive integers. He can do an operation as many times as he wants. In one operation, he can select an integer x and count all the occurrences of x in the array A and remove them. Then he'll add all the removed integer x either in the front or at the end of the array A. He wants to sort the array in non-decreasing order, using the minimum number of सुडोकू। बाद में बताता हूँ, सुडोकू वाली टाइप कॉन्वर्सेशन बाद में बता। He wants to sort the array in non-decreasing order using the minimum number of operations. For an example, if I show you this example, this one, 2 1 1 2 3 1 4 3. So what he did was he selected 1 and he put that into the front. So all the ones went into the front and there was 2 2 3 4 3. Then he selected 4 and he put 4 at the back. So 1 1 1 2 2 3 3 and then there was a 4. So in this way what he did was he made sure that he can easily put across every possible stuffs. So I can say you have to figure out what are the minimum number of operations. Over here they took 1, put it across in the front. They took 4, put it across on the back, and the array was sorted. Question is clear? Is the question clear? Is the question clear? You basically can pick up elements, put them into the front or put them into the back. At the end of the day, you have to tell me how many times did you pick up an element and how many times you have to make that times minimal. Is the question clear? So over here, you just need to pick up 1 and 4. So 2 times. The answer is 2. So the answer is 2. Okay, questions clear. Can I get an UQ? Any idea on how will you solve this problem? Any idea on how will you solve this? कोई idea है? Isn't it a interesting problem? I told you ना, it's an interesting problem. I clearly said कि ये question है मेरे को तो बहुत पसंद है. Personally, I have seen problems, but ये काफी अच्छा problem. That's my opinion. That's my opinion. Yours can be different. Can we do this binary search? Okay. I don't think binary search works. Because if you're using binary search, how do you figure out कि उतने operations में हो रहा है कि नहीं? हाँ जी, मुंबई आ रहा हूँ रजवी कॉलेज ट्यूसडे, मंडे 2 o'clock, मंडे 2 o'clock मुंबई, बांद्रा बांद्रा क्या बोलते हैं, बांद्रा कुछ भी है, बांद्रा शायद 2 pointer. ओके, क्विक सॉर्ट. ओके, ओके, बांद्रा बांद्रा अंधेरी तो इजी है बोलना. अच्छा क्वेश्चन है राइट. ओके, सो समथिंग दैट आई अंडरस्टैंड इज फ्रॉम दिस क्वेश्चन, व्हाट डू आई अंडरस्टैंड? आपको क्या लग रहा है कैसे होगा? मतलब मेरे दिमाग में आ रहा है कि अपन को लाइक वी हैव टू मूव एवरी एलिमेंट. So if I can figure out the sequence, yes, if I can figure out the sequence which is in the correct order, then I don't have to move those elements. But apart from that, I have to move every element. right? If I can figure out the sequence which is in the correct order, I don't move them. But apart from that, I actually have to move everyone. That makes sense. Okay. Does that make sense? Well, actually makes sense. Like over here, I can say, hey, Striver, listen. One, hey, Striver, listen. There is one, this one, this one, and this one. And then there's this four. So there are a couple of guys who are already in position. A couple of guys were already in position. So can I say this? If I can think in the sense of, can I get the longest positioned guys, like who are correctly positioned? Because if some guys are correctly positioned, I repeat, if some guys are correctly positioned, then I think my job will be done. I think my job will be done. Like over here, 1 and 4, like if I just start with 4, after that there is 3. But if I carefully observe, 3 is not correctly positioned because 3's last is somewhere down the line. So that's not correctly positioned. Now if I go to 3, 3 is here, and then there's 2. So can I say twos and threes are correctly positioned? Because even if I do not touch 2 and 3's, I can take the ones and probably I can put them into the front, and I can take the other guy 4 and I can put them into the back. So 2's and 3's are correctly positioned. So can I say, if I can figure out the longest consecutive correct sequence, if I can figure out the longest consecutive sequence, correct sequence rather, if I can figure out, I repeat, the longest correct consecutive sequence, very important, then I will not change it. Can I say this? If I can figure out the longest correct consecutive sequence, because if they're correct, if they're in the correct order, I don't need to change anything. I just need to बाकी लोग को आगे पीछे करके डाल देंगे और वो सॉर्ट हो जाएगा. मेक सेंस? अगर मुझे लॉन्गेस्ट कंसेक्यूटिव सीक्वेंस पता चल गया, मुझे उनको ऊपर नीचे करने का जरूरत ही नहीं है. आई डोंट नीड टू change them. Apart from that, I will change everyone else. Does that make sense? Like over here, if you see 2, 2, so 2 is starting here, 2 is ending here. Then 3 is starting here, 3 is ending here. So 2 and 3 are in the correct sequence. 2 and 3 are in the correct sequence if you carefully observe. Someone like 1 is not. Someone like 1 and 4 is not. So I just put it across and इधर उधर डाल देंगे. अब तुम बोलोगे भैया 1 and 4 भी तो करेक्ट सीक्वेंस पे है, 1 इधर है फिर 4 है, कंसेक्यूटिव नहीं है, दे नॉट कंसेक्यूटिव. अगर तुम 1 and 4 को लेते हो तुमको 2 हटाना पड़ेगा, बहुत ऊपर नीचे करना. लेकिन मैं अगर करेक्ट लेता हूं, जैसे 2 2 and 3 3 है, तो इन दोनों को मुझे छेड़छाड़ नहीं करना. ये लोग ऑलरेडी करेक्ट है, बस इनके बीच के बंदों को मेरे को हटाना पड़ेगा क्योंकि ये बंदे ऑलरेडी करेक्ट में हैं. सो कैन आई सी दिस? If I can figure out the longest correct consecutive sequence, then they are okay. Apart from that, I have to just remove all the numbers and do the job. Does that make sense? That's my intuition. Because if they're in the correct position, I'll keep them in the correct position. I'll just remove all the other elements and I'll try to do something. Does that make sense to everyone? Because apart from that, I have to remove everyone else. I don't have any other options. Apart from that, I have to remove everyone, pick somewhere here and there, and then they will get sorted in the correct order. Otherwise, they'll never get sorted. Prince will check either any element. No. We'll check either any element of array is greater than the next index, then all the unique such a kind of that only what I'm saying. Kind of that is what I'm saying. I just need to figure out the longest correct consecutive sequence because apart from that, everyone will be picked up and go left and right. Has everyone understood this? Has everyone understood this? Can I get a yes if you understood? क्लियर नहीं हुआ भैया? आहा. अब एक चीज सोचो, अभी एक चीज सोचो अंकित, मैं बोलता हूं अगर 1 बीच में 2 के तो 1 को तो हटाना पड़ेगा, 3 और 4 बीच में 2 और 1 के उसको तो हटाना पड़ेगा. Why we can't have 1 and 4? Because if you have 1 and 4, they are not in the correct sequence. क्योंकि 1 and 4 के बीच 2 और 3 आएगा dude. In between 1 and 4 there will be 2 and 3, so they are not in the correct sequence. That's why you have to figure out longest correct consecutive sequence. Longest correct consecutive sequence. Because 1 and 4 is not consecutive, because in between 1 and 4 you have to put someone, so you have to remove 4, so you cannot take 1 and 4. Got it? But if you take 2 and 3, they are correct. 2 and 3 can lie side by side. So apart from 2 and 3, everyone else has to be removed. Does that make sense? Because if I take 2, 2 starts here, 2 ends here. 3 starts here, 3 ends here. So even if I do not remove 2 and 3, 2, 2, 3, 3 are in the correct order. And if I remove 1, 1, 1 can be brought in the front. If I remove 4, 4 can be brought at the end. Since 2 and 3 were in the correct position, they did not need to be removed. They do not need to be removed. Because you want to make it linearly increasing, right? तुम्हें linearly increasing बनाना है, इसलिए तुम्हें longest correct consecutive खोजना पड़ेगा. अब समझ में आया? Now understood why am I saying you figure out the longest correct consecutive sequence, then you do a bit of left and right. Does that make sense to everyone? Why not 1 and 4? Very simple. Because 1 and 4 के बीच डालना पड़ेगा. तो 1 and 4 को तो हटाना ही पड़ेगा ना. किसी ना किसी को तो हटाओगे तब ना 1 and 4 के बीच कोई आएगा. तो इसलिए 1 and 4 नहीं ले सकते. इसलिए consecutive लेना बहुत जरूरी है. It's very important you have to take consecutive. Everyone understood why consecutive? Why consecutive? It's very easy to basically see how to use consecutive. Just keep the greedy. See, consecutive does not mean 2 and 3. Like अगर इस array में कुछ ऐसे होता 1, 1, 2, 2, 4, 6 and something like 4, 4. ठीक है. So if I take this, ठीक है, array over here, can I say 1, 1, 2, 2, 4, 4? I know there is no 3 in the array. So we can say apart from 3, because there is no 3 in the array. So the longest possible consecutive is these guys. And now 6 can be just removed and put it in the back. You need to figure out the longest consecutive. If there is no 3, then 1 to 4 will be considered as consecutive. 1 to 4 will be considered as consecutive because there is no 3 over there. If there would have been 3, then you would have considered. Because so basically longest correct consecutive possible जो है उसमें से consecutive. अभी 1, 2, 4, 6 ये नंबर सिस्टम है. 3 है नहीं इसमें, 5 नहीं है, तो ये नंबर सिस्टम है. इस पे 1 to 4 का जो लॉन्गेस्ट है वो कंसिडर किया जाएगा. समझ में? कि 1 to 4 करेक्ट पे तो सिर्फ 6 को उठा के पटक देंगे. समझ में? 6 को उठा के पटक देंगे. आया समझ में? Understood now? I'm not sure about the brute force approach. I think this is something. Yes, consecutive means 4 है तो उसके पीछे वाला जो नंबर एग्जिस्ट करता है उसके साथ कंसेक्यूटिव खोजेंगे. 4 का पीछे का नंबर है 2 तो उसके साथ कंसेक्यूटिव खोजने की कोशिश करें. Now how do I say consecutive? How do I make sure they're consecutive? I cannot call this as consecutive 1, 2, 1 and then a 2 and then a 4 then a 2. This is not consecutive because तुम्हें उठा के पटकना पड़ेगा. 1 को उठा के पटकना होगा, 4 को उठा के पटकना होगा. Consecutive means इसका लास्ट ऑकरेंस इस बंदे के फर्स्ट ऑकरेंस से पहले होना चाहिए. इस बंदे का लास्ट ऑकरेंस पिछले वाले बंदे के फर्स्ट ऑकरेंस से पहले होना पड़ेगा. राइट? इस बंदे का लास्ट ऑकरेंस इस वाले बंदे के पहले वाले ऑकरेंस से पहले होना पड़ेगा. दैट इज कंसेक्यूटिव. ठीक है? सो कैन आई से I can store the last occurrence and the first occurrence. Then I can just do a simple linear check. I can. So let's look at. So the constraint states 10 to the power 4 is the array can be up till n. So 10 to the power 4 ही है. So I can easily create a last occurrence array which can be n. And I can create the first occurrence array again n plus 1. And I can just go on initially saying let's mark them as Last occurrence of anyone as of now initially, let's mark it as this. Last occurrence of this, let's mark it as this. Okay. So this is initially. Okay. You are right, but will my approach, you can probably try submitting. अभी सारा approach अगर मैं सोचने लगा friends दिक्कत हो जाएगा. What if all the numbers are randomly distributed, no consecutive sequence exists, like 5 5 double 4 double 1? Then yeah, the highest consecutive sequence will be 1. Deepak got it. It will just be 1 because एक को रखो बाकी सबको उठा के पटक दो. ठीक है. या अभिषेक, you can mention, see, as long as you're saying तुम DSL को कर रहे हो, that's okay. Lean code से करो, binary search से करो, Codestudio से करो, कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता. Okay, so we've done this. Now I'll just iterate across 0 n I plus plus. I'll say last occurrence of any number a of I will be I itself. First occurrence of any number a of I will be minimal of I comma first occurrence of a of I. Perfect. So this way I can just deduce all the last occurrence, all the first occurrence. So I've kept all the last occurrence and all the first occurrence. Now what's my job? I know the numbers are from n. So I'll start from n actually, and I'll go until 1 because that's where the numbers are. How can I determine that a number exists? Because as I gave you an example of 1 to 4, there was no 3. So how do you determine a number exists? So if a number exists, the last occurrence will not be n plus 1. It will be somewhere between 0 to n minus 1. So can I say if the number exists between 0 to n minus 1? If the number exists, last occurrence of a of I, this is the number loop. This is the number loop. So can I say the last occurrence of I is not equal to n plus 1? Then I can say the number exists. Check if the number exists. Okay. This will check if the number exists. Probably I can also count the number of distinct because the answer will be distinct, the number of distinct minus the consecutive. क्योंकि उतने को ही छेड़ना है, उतने को ही हटाएंगे. Number of distinct minus. So this means a distinct for sure. And initially I can say the longest consecutive sequences. I can keep it as 1 always. Can I keep it as 1? Now, initially it will be 0. Initially it will be 0. And let's keep the maximal as 0. Okay. So count distance plus plus. I can also keep a last. Initial last is n plus 1. If this guy's last occurrence is lesser than the previous guy's last, then this guy will say, okay, fine. You can increase your longest sequence to plus plus. And at the same time, okay, I can say I'll increase ls plus plus. And I'll say now the last will get updated to this guy's first occurrence. And I can say maximal will be max of ls and maxi. But if it is not, I'm starting a new guy. If it is not, if this is somewhere like overlapping, then I'm starting a new guy. And so I'll start off with a new sequence. And for that new sequence, this will be f of o of I. I think this should work. At the end of the day, and at the end of the day, I can say whatever distinct, how many numbers we had, in that, the longest sequence that I got, I'll just not do. Numbers to be shifted will be total minus longest. Total will be जितने ये है. आया समझ में? Is that clear to everyone? Is that clear to everyone what I did? Clear to everyone, guys? Clear है? I basically just kept a pitch where पीछे से मैंने लास्ट को रखा और जब मुझे लास्ट नहीं मिला तो मैं रीअपडेट करके वापस शुरू कर दिया. तो आई थिंक ये चल जाना चाहिए. Again, you can take any example and probably do a bit of dry run. If you have understood the logic, you can easily do a dry run by yourself. Okay? If you've understood the logic, you can easily do. बहुत जगह मैंने INTN यूज कर लिया क्या? कोई नहीं, हर जगह चेंज करना सकते ऐसे गलत. अरे you can put any link in your resume, dude. Okay. By the way, how many of you did understand this? Simple implementation to find the longest sequence. A very simple implementation to find the longest sequence. Nothing out of the moon. Nothing out of the moon. Very simple one. I kept the last occurrence क्योंकि एक चीज मेरे को पता है, अगर ये बंदे, मेरे को एक चीज पता है, अगर नंबर 4 है उसके बाद नंबर 3 आता है, 3 तो था नहीं, उसके बाद अगर नंबर 2 आता है, जो 2 का बंदा है उसका जो लास्ट ऑकरेंस है, ये देखो 2 का जो लास्ट ऑकरेंस है, ये जो लास्ट बंदा 4 था उसका जो फर्स्ट ऑकरेंस है उससे बस पहले आ जाए, तो फिर मैं बोल सकता हूं कि ओवरलैप नहीं कर रहा है. फिर जब 2 आएगा, 2 का जो फर्स्ट ऑकरेंस है, एंड जो 1 आएगा, 1 का जो लास्ट ऑकरेंस है वो बस 2 से पहले आए, तो मैं वही कर रहा हूँ. लास्ट ऑकरेंस जो पिछला वाला लास्ट के उससे पहले आना चाहिए, तो मैं गिनता रहूंगा और मैं लास्ट को अपडेट करूंगा इसका जो फर्स्ट है, और बस गिनता रहूंगा. अगर कहीं पे भी ओवरलैप किया तो वापस गिनना शुरू 1 से. आया समझ में? क्लियर? I'm not sure, Prince, that will work. I'm not sure if that will work. Has everyone understood this? Just keep a track because you are concerned about the first occurrence and the last occurrence. So you compare the last occurrence with the first occurrence, and that's what you're storing. US? US from everyone? US from everyone? So it was a very good question, actually. It was a very good question. Very good question. US from everyone, please. Can I get a yes? Okay. Can I upload the solution of your DP playlist? हाँ, तुम कहीं भी upload करो, तुम्हारी मर्जी. Roshan, DP series will have 60 plus. I think we're halfway. We're halfway there. Okay, guys. So I hope you enjoyed the stream. Okay. I hope you enjoyed the stream. Just in case you enjoyed, please make sure you like the stream. If you're new to the channel, please do consider subscribing to us. And in the comment section, let me know if you've understood all the problems. The link in the description for the contest. Right across, go and submit that for sure. And yes, guys. Tomorrow, 10 o'clock. Tomorrow, 10 o'clock, we will have Lead Code stream. I might have it at 9 o'clock because I got a flight at 2 a.m. in the morning to catch. मुझे इसके लिए शायद 11 या 12 बजे घर से निकलना पड़ेगा, तो इधर 10 बजे लूंगा, इधर 9 बजे लूंगा, बिकॉज आई हैव अ फ्लाइट एट 2 a.m. to catch Mumbai. So probably at 10 or 9 I'll update that in tomorrow's morning. Okay, I'm going Mumbai, so yeah, let's meet in Mumbai. For everyone who's out there in Mumbai, you can probably check out my Instagram status. I have a proper poster around. You can come to Rizvi College of Engineering if you're in Mumbai somewhere. I really will meet. ठीक है, चलो गाइस, तो आज के लिए इतना ही था. मिलते हैं कल 9 बजे या 10 बजे. Till then, bye bye, take care, good night. Na na na.